What's up, Bills Mafia? The Buffalo Bills head to Foxborough to play those New England Patriots, and I got the top storylines for you. But before we get to that, let's get to that intro.
This is PZ Music.
Welcome to the Mafia Sports Report. I am Tommy. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell because I always forget to tell you. Well, Bills Mafia, the Buffalo Bills will play the New England Patriots this Sunday at 1 o'clock to Foxborough. And I got the top storylines for you. So let's get this thing going. Once again, shout out to Bills Wire for creating this article. All right, first up, slow starts are now center stage. Look at our boy Ken Dorsey. Look at him there. What's he thinking there? He's probably thinking to himself, man, those shotgun draws are sexy. I love those shotgun draws. And he's just thinking to himself, man, how do I get more shotgun draws in this game? That's what he's thinking. And yeah, man. All right, let's get to it. The Bills are officially on slow start watch. For the past two outings, the offense has not hit the ground running. 2 weeks ago, traveling in London was the blame, but there was none of that in Buffalo's win over the New York Giants. That was played in Orchard Park. Since the Giants matchup, head coach Sean McDermott has been asked about the team coming out of the gate slow. He's also been pressed on the idea of changing offensive coordinators, but he's standing by Ken Dorsey as of now. If the Bills go 3 and out to start their outing in New England, social media could get ugly. And there's reason to believe that could happen. The Patriots' record isn't great, but their defense is still in the top 10. Yeah, but they're playing awful, and they're giving up big points as of late. I believe they gave up back-to-back 30-plus points. So they're not playing good defense as of late either. Their offense is terrible, and their defense is starting to break as well. This is probably one of the worst New England Patriots teams I've seen under Bill Belichick. So, yeah, I get it. They are the Patriots. You still got to respect them. But listen, the real deal is the Buffalo Bills are a much better team than the New England Patriots. And they should win this game, and they should win this game by a good amount. And I said that last week when we played the Giants in Buffalo, and that didn't happen. And the main reason is because of the offense. And Sean McDermott, yes, he's standing by Ken Dorsey right now. And, he was asked, are you considering a change with play callers on offense? And he said no. And, he was, an emphatic no. So he's sticking with Ken Dorsey, and I understand that as well. Like you can't pull Ken Dorsey right now midway through a season. You just can't do it. This is still a good team. This offense, believe it or not, still a good offense. They're just struggling, and Ken Dorsey has not found his way. And he needs to. He has to, because if he doesn't, and this continues throughout the season, then yes, I do believe some sort of change may happen. I don't see him getting fired, but I could also see maybe Shula taking over or maybe split duty OC. Very, very possible. Or they just ride it out and they let Ken Dorsey go in the offseason if he can't get this offense on track, because we have too much talent for this offense to be stuck in the mud. I'm not saying that we have, the best of the best on offense in every single position, but we have a lot of good talent on this offense. And I just feel like he's not utilizing them correctly. And he's also just not drawing up plays correctly. It's mind-boggling, the things he does, the plays he calls out there, and the things he goes away from that's working, which is weird too. Going under center and doing play action and going under center and handing the ball off to running backs has way more success than Josh Allen and shotgun with the shotgun draws, the shotgun play actions. They just don't work. And yet he continues to, do that over and over and over, expecting it to work, and it's just not. He's avoiding the questions when reporters ask why he's going on in shotgun draw, especially on third and manageable, like third and inches. Why are you in shotgun draw? He kind of works around the question. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to anybody. It's just not me, guys. So I don't understand why he's being so stubborn, and the fact that he knows it's wrong, that everybody else is saying it's wrong, and Ken Dorsey continues to say it's right. So he has to switch it up, or this offense is going to continue to have problems. And not only that, the scoring drives that we do have, they all seem to be, tough. There's no, they're just there's no fun. There's no mojo coming out of this offense. There's nothing to it. It just seems like they're going through the motions. Everything is difficult. There's no rhythm. Like it's just go. It's almost like backyard football type offense. And I know that's crazy because I know. Listen, I understand he is he is calling actual play calls, but it just seems so basic, so vanilla, so preseason-ish type play calls. Nothing to him, no creativity, and he has to switch that up. He needs to start sprinkling up some better play calls, more creativity, using the playmakers he has on this team to their strengths, and he's just not doing that. So maybe this is a wake up call for him. Maybe him and Sean have had that talk. And this offense starts to click, because that's all we want to see as Bills fans. We want to see this offense click. And I think by him, changing some of his ways, like the shotgun draw that he's continuing to do, is a help. How about running the ball early on and sticking with it? Could help, right? Also, not handcuffing Josh Allen, having Josh Allen kind of play a little bit more free. Von Miller actually said that in a not post game, in a press conference this week. Kind of weird that even he would even bring that up, that Josh needs to, the reason why he came here and why he likes Josh Allen is because Josh Allen, the way he plays football, he's just one of those guys that's just like, hey, I'm going to take chances, and it is what it is. If I throw 5 interceptions, it is what it is, right? Like, I don't want that, but I understand where Von's coming from. He doesn't want Josh Allen to play another style of football. He wants Josh to play how he knows Josh, and I think we all do. Just dial it down just a tad on the turnovers there, and I'll be good with it, man. I really will be, because I kind of miss that Josh, and that Josh, I haven't seen that Josh in a while. So hopefully, they let Josh be Josh again a little bit there. All right, next up. Don't overlook AFC East wins needed. I agree. In addition to the slow starts, McDermott has to address not overlooking the Pats. Buffalo is on a 5-game winning streak over New England. The Bills are also trailing the Miami Dolphins in the AFC East race. Miami and Buffalo are 1-1 in the division. However, the Dolphins have a 3-1 conference record to the Bills' 2-2 mark. The Bills will give glitches all week about how everyone is paid in the NFL and you can't overlook any opponent. I'm sorry. The Bills will give cliches all week how everyone is paid in the NFL and you can't overlook any opponent. They better practice what they preach. And yes, it is early in the morning while I am doing this video, so forgive my grammar. But anyways, yeah, I agree, man. They always say that, the next opponent is, we don't overlook any opponent. We don't look, at the schedule, and it's whatever next week, it's this game that matters only, and blah blah blah. I get that, and to an extent, I want to believe that. But, I will say for the most part, I don't know if this team has ever overlooked an opponent. Um, but sometimes they don't step up how they should against a lesser opponent. Those are facts, and I don't know why. The last 2 weeks, nothing against Jaguars, but the Bills, that's a win. That come on. I'm sorry. We are a better team. Last week against the Giants should have never came down to a last play, for the win, for the Giants, where the defense had to make a stop. Like those are the games that we should have easily won by, 14, 21 points, right? And we're not doing that. So this game here, as you see how the Patriots have been playing all year long, they have one win, guys. One win, and 1-5. They're a bad football team. They're getting blown out the last 2 weeks, right? So this is a game where I expect Buffalo to blow this team out and to look good. And hopefully they do, because if they don't, yeah, Bills Mafia is going to be chirping online on social media for sure. And I don't blame them. Like, who blames them? You don't want to watch that kind of football when you know what you have. What this team has, especially on offense, and to go out there and have 0 points at half. You don't want to see that. So I get it. So of course we're going to be chirping. Of course, the national media is gonna poke and make fun of this team and their performance. So I get it, and they need to play better. All right, next up. And by the way, it is correct. This is a division game. They need to win these games. All right, secondary looks. The Bills were without cornerback Dane Jackson Foote against the Giants. Kaiir Elam played better than the previous week when he made his first start of the year, but he did allow a couple of catches. Jackson, called day to day, could return in New England. If Jackson does, Elam could be in a curious place, putting him back on the inactive list during the game, as he was for the first 4 games of the season. Might crush his confidence. The same case could be made if he's active but doesn't play. What to do? I don't know. Listen, I told you guys what I feel about Kaiir Elam. I thought last year he showed potential. I did. I really thought he showed potential. And I thought this year, his second year going into this year, that Kaiir Elam would have won that job, would have been CB2. And he could not outplay Dane Jackson or Christian Benford in the offseason. Could not outplay them. And in fact, I think he probably did worse in training camp and in preseason. And that's why he was inactive for the first month of the season. And the reason why we saw him is because of the Trey White injury and Dane Jackson injury. That's the only reason he was active in week 5 and week 6. And that's crazy for a first round pick to be inactive, a healthy scratch for the first month of the season. So I don't know what they're going to do with moving forward, because he has not played well, even this first 2 games, that he's played this season. The Jaguar game, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. First game back, it's in London. Everybody's kind of tired. Maybe his confidence isn't too great, whatever. Then you go against the Giants. You got a lesser opponent, not the best receivers, and you still are getting beat. You still look bad. And, he made some plays in that game, but overall, he was still getting beat, and against players that are just not very good. And that concerns me. Of course, it concerns a lot of people, because we will face better opponents, better receivers. And Kaiir Elam's going to get toasted. And we just can't have that on the field. Once again, getting penalty interference calls as well. Pass interference calls as well. Penalties. Can't have that. Cannot have that. So it's super concerning. And this cornerback room is concerning, because I'm not a fan of Dane Jackson either. I don't hate Dane Jackson. I thought he had a good preseason, but he gets beat as well. He's not the fastest corner in the world. The one thing he does well, though, is he gets back in the play. Same with Christian Benford. He lacks the speed, but he gets back, gets back in on the play and makes a play on the ball. That's the difference between Dane and Christian Benford compared to Kyer Elam, who gets beat and doesn't get back on the play. So, I still don't like that. You're going to face faster receivers. You know what the Dolphins bring. They have speed all over. So I don't know. I'm very concerned. I really listen. The deadline is October 30th, I believe. On Halloween, I guess. So let me see here because I don't want to tell you guys wrong. So the deadline is October 31st. So October 31st is the deadline. I believe 4:00. So there right now there's a lot of names being thrown out there, but they're offensive, right? Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, and now that's great. That would be great for our offense, but I would like some help on the cornerback. Um, you know, if they could pull something like that, pull a trade like that. Patrick Surtain, I know everybody. That's the main name that everybody's talking about. I would love it. I just don't know how the Bills could do it. The Broncos are going to want a first, and they're going to probably want a second or third the following year. So I don't know if Bean is willing to give that up. And like I said before, and I've said multiple times, Brandon Bean just does not trade for players. It's super rare. And it's frustrating at times as a Bills fan because you got to roll the dice once in a while on these trades. Draft picks aren't guaranteed. So I understand that he loves his draft picks. He loves piling them up, but they're not all guaranteed. And the proof is with our first round pick, Kyer Elam. So you're telling me that you wouldn't trade, Kyer Elam now if you knew what he was going to be for Surtain? Of course you would. Of course you would. It would be stupid because you know what you're getting at Surtain. So you gotta roll the dice once in a while, take that chance in a trade and make it happen to better the team. Because you're gonna go look back, if we don't win a Super Bowl, or let's just say hypothetically we don't win one under Brandon Bean and Sean McDermott, especially Bean as GM, we're gonna all look back in time and say, man, what if he made that trade? What if we brung in, he made a trade for Derrick Henry or Devontae Adams when it was available? What if he made that trade for Patrick Surtain when it was available? Man, what could the Bills have done, right? How good they could have they been? Could have they been, right? Like that's where it could really go back, to Brandon Bean, where he made some mistakes and not taking chances with trades. I'm not saying go trade happy, but there is times where I think you should pull the trigger. And those are trades, by the way, that move the needle. I'm not talking about trades that don't move the needle. You know what I mean? Who cares about I know he did it last year. But when he brought in Naeem Hines and the safety, DeMar Lowe, but what did that really do? Did that move the needle for that Buffalo Bills team last year? No, let's be real. I like Hines, but that's not a move we need, something that's going to move the needle. But a Derrick Henry, a Devontae Adams, a Patrick Surtain, that's going to move the needle. That's going to make this team a lot better. And that's something that, he needs to understand. So we'll see. Anyways, let's get back to this. On my little rant there. All right. Allen's shoulder. Oh, look at Allen, man. Allen's like, damn, come on. Got to protect me better. It really, you know what, though? Honestly, the offensive line has done very well this season. Quarterback Josh Allen sustained a shoulder injury against the Giants. He only missed 2 snaps and played through it. But we've seen players miss games after such scenarios happen. Or in Allen's case, like a previous elbow injury, he plays through it and said all season that it did not bother him, only to change his tune after the year. So what are we to make of Allen's shoulder? There's something that will be discussed this week and watch on Sunday, assuming he starts. McDermott was pressed on Allen's Week 7 status, but deflected questions. Listen, Allen's going to start. There's no question in my mind. He's going to be the starting quarterback this Sunday. The UCL injury was way worse, and he started the very following week. So he will play, and he's going to probably play through some pain. But this is nothing compared to the UCL injury that he had. This is something that I think will, like I said, he'll have to play through a little pain, but it will heal a lot faster than the UCL injury he had last year, and he'll be just fine. But it is something to watch for to see, how his passes look in this game. If they're short, if he's underthrowing them or overthrowing them. It is something to look out for. But I will say the offensive line, especially knowing now that Josh Allen is a little banged up, you want to protect him even better, right? Like you need to step up a little bit more. Though, like I said, I think the offensive line has done a very good job this season, and they're continuing to get better week after week, in my opinion. But last week, I will say, I thought the run blocking was a little bit better than the pass blocking. I thought the pass blocking was a little off last week, but they'll clean that up. All right, next up. Others getting involved. Now look at that. You see our boy right there, Gabe Davis. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's weird with Gabe Davis, man. Gabe Davis lets players get in his head, right? Lets them get under his skin, and it throws his game off. There's a couple players on this team that's like Gabe Davis. They get thrown off, and I think the Giants' game plan versus the Buffalo Bills was to throw us off, play physical, chirp a lot, and it you could tell it bothers some players, and especially Gabe Davis, who I don't know why, but gets caught up in the emotion of shit talking and stuff like that. So, yeah. Stephon Diggs had 10 catches for 100 yards against the Giants. Deontay Hardy scored his first touchdown with the Bills, but the 5 other players that touched the ball in the passing attack versus New York combined had 9 catches for 69 yards. This is not spreading the ball around. The Bills need to figure out how to get others involved, especially against the Patriots. New England head coach Bill Belichick has a defensive game plan everybody knows. We have for years. He takes away or tries to your best playmaker and dares anyone else to try and beat him. Your move, Bills. I agree. That's Bill Belichick. Even though his team is not playing the best football right now, you still got to respect him as a head coach. You still got to respect his defense. So he does take away, he tries to take away your best option. And that right now, obviously, is Stephon Diggs, and has been Stephon Diggs. So that means other players need to step up. Gabe Davis, Dalton Kincaid, Deontay Hardy, Trent Sherfield, Dawson Knox, if Dawson Knox plays. Right? If I don't know if I said Gabe Davis, but Gabe Davis. All these guys need to step up and play better. Also, Ken Dorsey, and I go right back to Ken, needs to dial it up as well for these other players, needs to get them involved in the offense. And he's yet to do so. I want to see more creativity. Once again, how about some play calls for Deontay Hardy? How about some jet motions? How about some how about some motions in general? How about some pop passes? He's just yet to do it with Deontay Hardy. How about going deep with Deontay Hardy? How about some slants for Deontay Hardy? How about Trent Sherfield? That's another guy. How about him? Get him involved in the game plan. Dalton Kincaid. How about opening up his route tree? Instead of always going short, how about have him, go deep from time to time? Like mix it up. You don't always have to go with the same game plan for each, each receiver, each tight end. Like it's the same thing I see week after week for this team. And it's funny because the Giants player said they watched film on the Buffalo Bills, and what we did is exactly what they saw on film. There was no changes, nothing different. What that tells me is Ken Dorsey isn't game planning first versus an opponent. You got a game plan versus an opponent, their weaknesses and their strengths, what they do good and what they don't do good. And then you got to attack them. Their weaknesses. And Ken Dorsey's, I don't know if he's doing that. I think he's just going with the same play calls, the same game plan week after week after week, and defenses are picking it up and saying, oh, okay, yeah, we've seen this all before. We watched this. So I hope that he switches it up. I really do. I hope that he gets more players involved in this game instead of just Stephon Diggs. I also hope he runs the ball more. I hope that he sticks with Murray leading the way in the first half, meaning when the game starts out, you have him as your lead back, which will soften up the defense. It'll get James Cook going, right? Because once Latavius Murray starts to, get in there and get tackled by these defensive players, he's only going to soften them up, and that's only going to help James Cook find those holes. It's going to be a lot easier for him to find the holes because the defensive line is already banged up, whatever you want to call it. And it's going to make Cook's job much easier because Murray already softened it up for him. And I like that. I like what he did last week, but I want to see more of it. Once again, last week, it started off okay. So not even okay, started off good. And Ken Dorsey scratched it right away, went away from the run in the first half, and then finally said, oh, the light went on and started running the ball in the second half. And, oh, wow, it works. Like it worked in the first half. So anyways, guys, that's my top storylines. I just need to see better Buffalo Bills football, especially on the offensive side. The defensive side, listen, they're with all the injuries that they have, they're still doing their job. It hasn't been pretty at times, but they're still doing their job even with all the injuries, right? And we got a lot of them. Got big time names out for the season. Trey White, Matt Milano, Daquan Jones. You can't replace those guys, but guys can step up. I thought Dorian Williams last week stepped up, and he's a rookie. And I expect him to get better and better as the season goes on. We'll see what happens with the corners. That is still a question mark. Has anyone stepped up since Trey White has been out? I no. I'm going to say no. And I know that's a tough shoes to fill, but somebody has to do it. You can't just, and that's why I say about Brandon B making a trade, because if these guys can't step up in that room, the cornerbacks, then we got a problem moving forward. And that's the truth, guys. Now on the line, Poona Ford, I thought played well last week. I did. And that's exactly why Brandon Beane signed Poona Ford for depth. And now, here we go. Here's your chance. Your chance to shine, Poona Ford. And I thought he looked good in Seattle. And I was happy when we picked him up. That was a hell of a pickup. It was a smart pickup. So let's see what Poona Ford does. And in place of Daquan, he's not going to do what Daquan did, but he's our next best option. And I don't mind having that, So anyways, guys, Bills Mafia, there is no Mafia Means Family podcast. Unfortunately, they had to go to the hospital, for something. And so that show will be canceled tonight. Friday Night Lights at 8:30 is tomorrow. So you don't want to miss that. Saturday at 2:00, Fantasy Kingdom. That's with Mikey and Howie. They talk about fantasy football. And then at 6:00 is AFC East Shakedown. That's here on this channel. So you don't want to miss that as well. So Bills Mafia, I love you. And as always, go Bills. I'm out of here. Peace.